With classes moving to online, does that mean tutoring is going to follow next? Well, let's talk. What is up, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Tin Invest. The time is now investing, where I'm your host, Jimmy Bishrat. Today's episode is going to be like all my other ones. If you're not familiar with my channel, this isn't the place where I talk about hype and BS rumor stocks. No, this is the place to come to if you want to leave with an actual understanding of what the heck the company you're considering investing in even does. I'll post videos on some companies I like and some that I don't like, on companies that I own and some that I don't own. But at the end of the day, you should always expect to get hard due diligence put together in an easy to follow, entertaining video. But I want you to take this information and expand on it. What I don't want you to do is invest in it just because I made a video on it. You need to realize that I am not a financial advisor, and everything I say in these videos is not financial advice. So please, 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 don't take what I say as fact. Realize that I'm just some guy on the internet, and you should always be doing your own research because, again, I am not a financial advisor. All right, well, now that that's done, without further ado, let's talk Chegg. Well, first things first, what is Chegg? Well, according to Google, Chegg is an education technology company that provides digital and physical textbook rentals, textbook solutions, online tutoring, and other student services. The way that Chegg breaks down their business is that they help with academics, skills, and materials. Then they break down those categories into different subcategories. So for academics, for example, they offer things like Chegg Study. This is where, let's say a student, this is probably their most used portion of their business, so to say. So let's say a student, let's say me, I have a homework problem in my textbook. I can't figure it out. I don't know the answer. So what I do is I would copy it, paste it onto Chegg, take a picture of it, put it on Chegg, and then a tutor will later answer that question for me with the steps of how to solve it. So giving me the ability to get my answer solved. Now, then after that's answered, Chegg moves the question and the answer to an archive of millions of problems. They have, I think, over 59 million different answered problems. So most of the time, a question that you have or you've come across from a textbook has already been solved. But if you don't have a Chegg account, when you go to the website, it'll show you the question, which most of the time is exactly the same question you have, and then it'll show you the steps of how it's been answered, but it's all blurred out. Basically forcing the person, if they want the answer, they're gonna have to make that Chegg account. Now, the next part of their academics program is the writing tool. This can be used for like plagiarism checks, grammar checks, making bibliographies. They actually purchased acquired the company AutoBib. Have you guys ever used that back in the day when you needed to, like, let's say, get the bibliography of a website or a book? I remember teachers, at least in my elementary school, that was an essential. Well, now Chegg owns it. The final aspect to Chegg's academics is their math solver, and I'm not really going to get into it. It's really as it seems. It's a very, very intuitive math solver. So that's that for the academics portion, let's say, of Chegg. Then you have the skills section. Now, I've never used this before, but they're really used to help people with like online skill-based courses. Things like data analytics and data science or like software engineering and whatnot. They help you pretty much get your skills down for it. Again, I've never used it before, so I'm not too familiar with it, and I won't act like I am familiar with it. So the skills portion, don't quote me on anything I said, but yeah, it's mainly used for like that type of stuff. Then finally, Chegg has the required materials portion of their business. This is where they help people rent or purchase digital physical copies of textbooks. This was actually the first time I was ever exposed to Chegg, was my cousin using their textbook rental services. I would say that this wide array of different services and offerings is the reason that Chegg has been able to help students from STEM to humanities to business all equally. Chegg sees that they have an extremely large addressable market in its very early stages. And I'm not even talking about the fact that COVID helped people realize how efficient and effective Chegg is. I mean, that's when I made my Chegg account, was once the whole COVID at home thing, no more going into school. I made a Chegg account because, I mean, it was a lot easier for me to get help because I'm no longer going to campuses asking my teachers for help. So now this was kind of my next best thing. And I must say, it was really efficient and I was actually able to learn from the steps. So like, yeah, it may have been cheating, I guess, but it definitely helped me learn. So I wouldn't really call it cheating. But anyways, not even talking about that. Today's learners are faced with, like students, are faced with much more pressure than before. Meaning the extremely high cost of school is forcing students to have to work while they're in school, while they're attending classes. Which means they now have less time to go to office hours and ask teachers for help, or go to tutoring sessions and get extra hours of help, you know what I'm saying? Now they're forced to work, and when they get home from work, it's 9 p.m., they can't email a teacher anymore, and their homework assignments due at midnight, leaving them with the next best thing, pasting the problem in the internet and getting the solution from an online tutor, aka Chegg. And the best part is, for Chegg, this market is pretty much untouched. Though they have 6.6 million subscribers, there's still 36 million US high school and university students. So I mean, in the US alone, they barely even touched on 20% of their potential. Imagine in the entire world, I mean, now we're getting to 100 million plus potential customers for Chegg. Okay, now time for the part where I give you some interesting numbers and basically the financials. So for Chegg, on one page of their presentation, it said that they had 6.6 million subscribers. Then on the other page, it said that in Q1 of 2021, they had 4.8 million subscribers. So just by that, I can assume that they constantly see fluctuations between paid subscribers during, let's say, like a school year or summer vacation. And I definitely can see how this is like the case, because for instance, once summer started, I turned off my Chegg subscription, and once school starts back up, I would turn it back on again. So this could definitely be the reason that Chegg is seeing such fluctuation between their numbers. Overall though, the company saw a 67% increase in subscribers year over year. Now the next part I'm going to get into is some numbers from a survey done by Chegg. They claim that 87% of college students know or have heard of the Chegg services. And I believe this could be a direct result of the 19 million unique visitors that they get on average per month. And that they are getting that many visitors, because remember, you post a homework problem on the internet, most of the time it's going to pop up on Chegg and you're going to end up visiting the website and seeing it. It's going to tempt you to make the account, but you won't do it until maybe the 5th, 6th, 7th time. Then it's like, all right, I got to make a Chegg account. And now again, more numbers from that survey I was talking about. 92% of Chegg users claim that they learn and understand the material. I stand by that. 94% of them claim that they got better grades when using Chegg. Again, I can stand by that as well. 95% of the students say it made their working more efficient. I stand by that too. And then 96% of the people say that it helped them figure out and help when they needed it. And again, I stand by that as well. And this is probably the reason that Chegg has seen about $200 million in total revenue from Q1 2021. And this is a 51% increase year over year. Okay, that's enough numbers for today's video. Now, let's talk about the competition. In my eyes, it's really Chegg and then a few others here and there. And pretty much others that I'm referring to are sites like Course Hero. They pretty much offer the same thing as Chegg, just maybe not as good, so to say. Though 99% of the time, the problem I need and the question I have is going to be posted on Chegg and I'll get the answer there. Sometimes when looking for a problem, it only pops up on Course Hero. Sometimes I've even noticed where an entire class's work is only on Course Hero and not Chegg. But not even that has been enough for me to say, okay, I'll switch to Course Hero or I'll make a Course Hero account, because one, I feel like myself and most college students are really making the budget to afford one of these subscription services. And two, most of the work, 3 out of 4, maybe 8 out of 10, 9, most of the time, you're going to find it on Chegg rather than Course Hero. So this is why I see Chegg emerging as the king over the other little guys. Also, now that Chegg is being backed by public money, and now that they're seeing insane growth in their revenue, I believe that this company will continue to acquire this smaller educational and different tutoring sites to add to their archive of questions and to add to their set of tools. And they've done this in the past with online educational things like we talked about earlier. They had EasyBib, or they also acquired StudyBlue and even WriteLab. Rather than trying to make their own writing tools, they went out and acquired established ones that are already on the market. One of the most recent acquisitions to the Chegg family has been Thinkful. Thinkful is basically an online coding school. Chegg, it has a prominent name, and now they have the capital to add more features and better their overall name, essentially making them the ultimate educational online tool. Okay, so we finally made it to the last part of the video, the pros and cons. This one is probably the most important thing that Chegg's ever done for their business. And this pro is really the way that Chegg's been able to prevent being ripped off, so to say. So back in the day, me and about, I'd say 10 different buddies all used the same Chegg account, and there was really no deterrence or no prevention from sharing passwords. So Chegg was missing out on all this potential revenue. So to do something about it, what they first implemented was if you signed in from a different computer or a different IP address or whatnot, it would make you change the password. Sometimes it would make you do the email code and go through that hassle, or it would just log you out from one computer or the other, so you're constantly going through that habit. But again, that didn't work that well. Though it annoyed people, some guys were still willing to go through the hassle of changing the password and sharing passwords and whatnot. So what Chegg's recently implemented is only allowing accounts to have a set number of devices added to it. Meaning, let's say for me, I was only allowed to have 2 devices. So my iPad was signed into Chegg and my laptop was signed into Chegg. That means if I went to work and tried using my work computer and logging into Chegg, I would have to remove one of the devices and add it, and it just made the entire process a complete pain, which prevented me from ever wanting to share my password with anyone. Which again has led to the company to see growth in their overall revenue, because less people sharing passwords means more customers and more students were forced to make their own accounts and pay for their own subscriptions. As we discussed earlier, Chegg is gaining customers. They're improving their product offerings and they're finding new ways to gain more revenue. Overall, I believe this company could be set up to potentially benefit from the future of learning, so to say. And there are a few other companies that could benefit from this as well, such as like Canvas or Blackboard or even Zoom. So if you want to see a breakdown video of some of those companies, be sure to let me know in the comments below. And if you have any suggestions for me or my content, again, let me know in the comments below, because that's the only way I'm ever going to get better and improve. And if you like this video, well, be sure to show your support by liking this video. Every like counts for the YouTube algorithm, and it just shows me that, hey, I was able to help one extra person. And best part is, if we're able to pump this video up to over 100 likes, my next posting will be of my biggest holding in my account. So if you're curious to see what that company is and get a breakdown of that company, be sure to like this video. Well guys, that's all I got for you today. Always remember, the time is now.